I'm Bob Minty from San Clemente, California, here at the Leck House in San Juan Capistrano, and this is maintained by the San Juan Capistrano Historical Society. This is a display of pirate paraphernalia from the 1800s and 1700s in recognition of the 200th anniversary of Bouchard raiding the mission, 1818. This is a blunderbuss made in Great Britain, quite heavy, bronze flintlock, and it happens to be a tower. Very nice weapon for the period and very well maintained. The large muzzle on it was used for quick reloading during battle. Common mistake is people think it makes the round go sideways, but actually it's just for ease of reloading. To fire the weapon, you put your powder in here, bring this down, pack it, then bringing this all the way back, half lock, full cock. And that would cause spark would go into the round, into the barrel, and you'd have your round go off. Again, that sparks. Other items that are in here of interest. This is a boarding axe. It is actually a flintlock and a gun. This is the gun, flintlock. You would aim it. Here's your rear sight. Here's your forward sight. You'd have one shot, and then you would board the vessel, called boarding axe gun. This is another type of boarding axe. This is from the 1700s. It's made out of pounded bronze. Naval boarding axe. Other items of interest. This is a more common flintlock for the period. It's called a frog mouth. Rather unique. Same function as a other flintlock. The bag was used in reference after the Civil War. They referred to people coming down from the north carrying those bags as carpet baggers.
Sorry.
You leaking?
Do you have a Band-Aid?
You're secure. Just real gentle, bring this thing down, otherwise it'll cut your fingers. Release and I'll put her down. There we go.
This one stays up as well.
There you go. I'll stand here in case it decides to change. This was sounding, thrown down into the bay to, one, determine the depth of the water. And this crevice in the bottom here would give a sample of what the soil is. If it's rocky or clay, they'd have a piece of wax in there to grab onto a sample of the soil. These are called thunder mugs. A couple uses for them. One, if you're trying to intimidate an opposition and you're a pirate, you'd have fellows up in the rigging as you approach the victim vessel. And they'd be packed with black powder, put a fuse in it, and then they just fire it from the rigging so it appears that you're being shot at by all positions. It also is used when you're coming into harbor to make a loud noise to attract the attention of the harbor master to bring a pilot captain out to help the vessel into the harbor. These are just three different ones. This is the oldest one. This is very heavy. Feels like bronze, I would think. This is a bottle from the era, and you can tell that bottom goes in. It reduces the amount of fluid inside. It's called an onion bottle. This is from the colonial times, 1700s. A pistol be used as a holster, and it also would hold your sword. This is a knife. It'll be used on close quarters. This has multiple uses. If you want your vessel to come closer to where you're at, you just throw this up into their rigging and hold on to it and pull the vessel closer to you. Very difficult to fight that. This is similar. Again, larger knife at the same time. Throwing the log, that tells you how many knots you're going. It'll time how many of the knots go through your hands as you're going through the water. We determine how many knots per hour. Just an old canteen. This is a 4-wick lamp. You put the whale oil, or it could be beef oil, and you have the 4 different wicks coming out, so it'll give a lot of light. It'll be like 4 wheeler lamps all at one time. This will be put down the barrel of a cannon, shot out, so it'll be the same as being hit by 9 different rounds. This holster here has 2 pistols in it, worn on the chest. The pistols here have been modified. Originally, there was a flintlock. They've been modified to a percussion, which is very common. 1850 is when they came out with the percussions. Very fragile leather. These items here are called caltrops, and the pirates would throw these onto the deck of the merchant ship. Typical merchant sailors were barefoot. These would be impaled into the soles of their feet and pretty much take them out of the action. This item predates the modern bayonet. This is the original bayonet. It's called a plug bayonet. It'd go into your muzzle after you made your shot, and then you just use it as a bayonet, as a big knife. This is a sophisticated Michelet flintlock. It has a large muzzle on it to make it easy for reloading during battle. Does not have a weighted end, so it would be used to reload. This on this side would be used to plug it into your belt. And other examples here. This is more of a traditional pistol, much longer. And the reason it's longer is for leverage. You'd make your one fire very difficult to reload during battle, so then you would turn it around and use it as a club. It'd be one shot, then it's a club. as opposed to this. This is a blunderbuss, square at the butt, very sophisticated. Again with the belt loop. This is a traditional, what we visualize as a pirate. It's called a scimitar. The arm hook was from the 1700s, made by a blacksmith. Later models during the Civil War, you could actually untwist it and put in a knife or a fork. But this is a very early model, and it was just bronzed in place. This weapon here, it was used in battle as a pirate weapon. It's sharpened on both sides. That would make it different than something you might use in the field. On the bottom edge would be when you make your forward lance, and then the top edge was sharp, so when you bring it out, you bring it up, and that makes a much wider entry. Up on the top here, we've got motivation. These are for discipline. Most of them have baleen as the flexible part. Up at the top, we have a peg leg. Now the reason there's so many peg legs and hand hooks is that if you were hit by a ball and it broke a bone, more than likely it would splinter the bone, and your only way to survive is to have an amputation. Your irons up here, the captain, if he ordered you to be placed in irons, which meant is that you were secured down below deck, grasping your arms around the base of the mast and your ankles around the base of the mast, you'd be left in irons. On the right side is a granado. That predates the modern grenade. It would be made from tar, pieces of lead, glass, whatever they had, and a fuse. That'd be thrown on the oppositions. Again, these are motivation made out of baleen and lead. The bottom, this is entertainment for the pirates. There's a gambling dice. They're looking at the dice, you can see they're very unique. The game is called Crown and Thorns. The placemat is made out of leather in 1700s. Down here, this is what we be used to carry cannonballs. Cannonballs we stored down in the hull. During battle, the person in charge of bringing up the cannonballs from on deck would carry 2 of these and come up the ladders. If he was just trying to carry them by hand, he'd only be able to carry 1 at a time. So it's a cannonball carrier. This is made from baleen in the middle and then wrapped in leather. It's again to maintain discipline among the crew. This is a portrait of Hippolyte Bouchard. Mr. Bouchard was arrested for piracy in 1818 after he left San Juan Capistrano. He was down in Chile when he was arrested. They didn't have photographs there, so the king wanted a picture of him, so they painted a portrait, and they added the portrait to an existing picture of a body. This is a grog keg. Grog was part of your meal. The water would go bad, but the grog would be good. So you could say grog saved the crew. This is a 1880 Anglo concertina. It was made in New York. It's called a C.J. Jones. It was created by a harmonica player who was a cabinet maker in Great Britain. This one was made in New York. And it being that it was a harmonica, if you push one direction, it would be one note. The other direction would be a different note. Where an accordion would be the same note in either direction. Any questions? Thank you so much.